All right, we are live. Decentraland Report Sports Sunday. Hopefully everyone's joining in here. We've got a couple viewers so far. That's great to see. Everyone keep coming on in. Say hi in the chat. I'm Mike. Back here doing Sports Sunday for the Decentraland Report. We got a lot of fun stuff to get to today. Want to shout out one of our main advertisers and supporters is Metakey. Made possible, supports our stream here at the Decentraland Report. The Metakey is the archetype for NFT utility, a single token with hundreds of use cases being built every year. A few of my favorite Metakey uses. Every key holder will soon receive a Metacrew PFP avatar made by veteran game designers with big brand license traits and future game integrations. There's also regular free drops and special integrations with some of the best projects. There's also exclusive Metaverse experiences that Metakey encompasses as well. So if you're looking for a long-term hold that has already established the gold standard for NFTs and will continue to deliver for years, you need Metakey. The Metakey Edition 4 launches at the end of September. Check out themetakey.com and at themetakey on Twitter to learn more.
Very cool.
All right, got our ad read out of the way. Hopefully more people here are dropping in to the stream. Obviously, you see my avatar here dancing around with the Daft Punk style helmet. Love to see it, and the light up shoes. We're back here in our sports arena.
Yeah, the sports arena.
As that we did last time. Awesome. So, guys, welcome to the Decentraland Sports Sunday. This is day one of a 7-day experience here in the Decentraland where we're going to have an expert on every day talking about a different topic category, and it's just going to be a lot of news for you and updates about various different things across the internet, the world, what have you. So this is just day one. Obviously, my name's Mike. And Big Mike, yes sir. I'm sporting my Iowa shirt today because, as you know, I am a big guy about college football. Iowa did win yesterday, but we will get to that in a second as we explore around here a little bit and check out all of the goings on in our sports arena.
Let's take them over to the couch.
Yes.
The talking couch.
Let's have a seat around the couch.
You ready?
Right on. So our first point of business today is that Crypto.com has topped 400 million in sports deals. They have signed a deal with the Philadelphia 76ers to put one of the jersey patches onto the Sixers uniforms. The NBA started jersey patches about 5 years ago as a way to raise revenue for the sport. And as you can see here on Joel Embiid's, most of them are just up there near like the shoulder. Different teams have different ones. But this is huge that a cryptocurrency company is going to be front and center, literally on the court in NBA games. They inked a deal with the 76ers. It's worth $10 million annually, which is awesome. And they've also done a lot of work outside of just the NBA. They signed a deal with the Montreal Canadiens of the NHL, a 5-year, $100 million global partnership with Formula One, a 10-year, $175 deal with UFC, and a multi-layered partnership with Serie A, which is a Spanish league, which is the Spanish professional soccer league in Spain. And last year, they inked a 3-year, $29.5 million deal with Paris Saint-Germain, which is a professional soccer team in the Paris League. NBA jersey patches were in 2006, so they were 16, so they were 5 years ago. And obviously, see, they go to $7 to $10 million a year. And at the end of this article too, the Lakers secures a 5-year jersey pass sponsorship with Bibigo, which is a brand of the #1 food company in South Korea. So what this is really saying to me as a sports person budding into the cryptocurrency world is that the sports world is starting to take cryptocurrency way more serious. There's about, I would say about once every 2-3 weeks, we've seen articles come out about pro players either diving into cryptocurrency in terms of what they invest in outside of football or whatever their professional sport is. And we've also seen players even ask to be paid in cryptocurrency from their teams. Now, that probably hasn't happened immediately, but there is still a strong pull from the sports community to take interest in cryptocurrency, and especially you can see here with the 76ers putting down a $10 million annual deal to get Crypto.com on their shoulders. Right on. So that is the big news out there in terms of crypto and sports. And now we are going to shift to one of my favorite segments. Can I minimize?
We're even
Boop.
there.
And we are going to start getting into one of my favorite topics is college football. It's my love. It's my passion. I can't get enough of it. And this year has been one of the, I wouldn't say crazy, but it's definitely the most even in terms of competitive balance throughout the league that we've seen in the past, at least in the past 3 to 5 years. Alabama does look strong again, as you might guess they would be, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of other top teams. A lot of different teams are just kind of middling. There doesn't seem to be that dominant 3 to 4 teams. In the past, you've had Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, all just be juggernauts, and everyone else was just kind of fodder for them throughout the season. So we're going to kind of go through major conference by major conference, just to kind of break down what's really going on in college football this year. So we're 4 weeks in, so we're going to call this our college football quarterly report. Give us like a kind of update of where we are within each major conference, right? We've got our 5 different conferences: Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and the ACC. Obviously, last time I was here, we talked a little bit about the conference realignment that has happened. And so that is what it is. That'll happen in the next 4 to 5 years. If, when it happens, it happens. But right now, the games are playing, the games are happening, and teams are winning and losing. So we're going to go out west first to check out our friends in Pac-12 world. And for them, a lot of people crapped on or dunked on the Pac-12. And if you don't know, the Pac-12 is your Oregon State, Washington State, University of Cal Berkeley, Stanford, UCLA, USC, both Arizona schools, Arizona and Arizona State, as well as Colorado and Utah. So a lot of people last year dunked on the Pac-12 for having a fairly weak conference, and during COVID they only also played about 5 games, so it really wasn't a whole season. So we're looking for more from the Pac-12 and the Western college Western college football conference. So far, it's been what I expected, was just a bit of a mess in the middle with like 1 or 2 teams up top. But the big story is that USC, after just bombing to Stanford last week, they lost to Stanford somewhere in the neighborhood of... they lost 42-28 to Stanford 2 weeks ago. That prompted the firing of their head coach, Clay Helton, and led to them beginning the search for a new one for next season. And, USC, University of Southern California, is historically a major player in Pac-12 sports, and Pac-12 football specifically. for them to have kind of fallen from that grace, it's angered, or not angered, maybe frustrated the alumni base that they're not hitting their peak, so to say. So they took a lot of anger out on Washington State last week, and then this week they had another home game against Oregon State, an up-and-coming Pac-12 team who has a fiery young head coach, and they've put a good 3 seasons together. They're kind of building from John Smith, their quarterback, or not quarterback. Their I might get the name wrong there, but they had a coach 3 or 4 years ago who just walked out in the middle of the season. Literally like week 8, which is like, yeah, I'm out. And so they've been recovering from that and been very good at doing so. Their offense is really fun. I got to actually watch a little of the game last night. A lot of this Pac-12 stuff is on way late at night. And they just thumped USC. I did not expect it. 45-27 over USC. Oregon State just ran all over them. I mean, they put up 322 yards on the ground, 322 rushing yards.
Wow.
Absolutely just dominated on the ground. I knew they ran the ball more than they threw it, but I didn't think they'd be that successful at it. So yeah, as we look at the Pac-12 here, your leader, I think conference-wide, it has to be Oregon. They beat Ohio State 2 weeks ago and looked really confident in doing so, and handled that good Ohio State team very well. Outside of Oregon, I mean, I guess it's split into the North and the South. You've got Oregon State, who beat USC here, so maybe they challenge, but I just don't see a lot of challenge for Oregon in the North. And in the South, it's pretty. UCLA had a nice early win against LSU, but then dropped a game this week. Dropped a game last week to Fresno State, who they're a lot of fun. If anyone likes fun football, check out Fresno State. We won't touch them today, but that's where you can catch me on the triple option coming up this week. I'll have an episode coming out Monday where we're going to be doing a real quarterly report, getting a little more in depth than we do here, talking about different teams and conferences. So check me out there if you want more of what you like and see here. And UCLA beat Stanford today. Stanford is a bit up and down. The Pac-12 is eating itself alive, as we thought it would anyway. So I really just expect Oregon to come out top here. But it's nice to see the inner competitiveness of the conference. That's kind of what the Pac-12 does every year, is every team just beats each other up. But for me, that's fun. For people that want elite, they want to have those 3 or 4 teams in each conference, be head and shoulders above the rest. I'm over that. Let's have some competition. Every week's a fight. I'm all for it. So we're going to come a little bit more east now, and we're going to get into the Big 12. And if you remember what we talked about last time with the Big 12, it was the conference realignment, because the Big 12, which includes right now Oklahoma and Texas, 2 big entities within that conference, they're leaving in the next 5 years. They're going to be going to the Southeastern Conference, which is, I guess you could say, just a lot more competitive of a league, and they have more money in their broadcasting rights, which is a big draw. More money equals more facilities and better trainers and more coaching salaries and all that good stuff. So, for the Big 12 this week, Texas needed to bounce back from a loss, and they did. They put up 70 points on Texas Tech, so looking strong there. TCU and SMU. SMU is not in the conference. Southern Methodist University, TCU, Texas Christian University. That is, both teams are located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That is a rivalry game known as the Battle for the Iron Skillet, which is really fun. And that is always a great game. I've tuned into that game about the past 5 years, and it always is just fantastic. 42-34 SMU. Glad to see them get the win there. That game's always a lot of fun. And really this year for the Big 12, I thought, as many other people did, that pretty much Oklahoma was going to run away with this thing. A lot of the other teams in the Big 12 are recovering. either lost a quarterback or just kind of hit their peak last year in terms of Iowa State, who returned their quarterback from last season, but with the talent on their roster, really weren't going to be able to probably match the 11 wins that they had last season. And that holds true as they lost to Baylor 29-31. They actually got stuffed on a 2-point conversion to send the game into overtime in the fourth quarter. So there doesn't seem to be that elite team, as Oklahoma in the second straight week has just, for a lack of a better term, just struggled with their opponent. The previous week they played Nebraska, which was a non-conference game, but a historical rivalry between the two, as Nebraska years ago used to be in the Big 12. They won 23-16. It was a one-score game. Oklahoma was favored by about 25 points in that game. So needless to say, Nebraska covered. But Oklahoma just has not looked sharp. They have one of the top touted quarterbacks in the nation in Spencer Rattler. He was a preseason Heisman candidate, and he has just looked average. Has not looked like the Spencer Rattler we saw like last season, who started the season throwing a lot of picks, making some mistakes, but learned from those mistakes, and at the end of the season was, really balls to the walls, playing excellent quarterback play. And this season, regression, or maybe he's thinking too much, or just he doesn't look comfortable really in the offense. So this week they hosted West Virginia, who's a kind of a plucky team. They're rebounding from a couple good seasons they had about 5 years ago with a new head coach, Neil Brown. And they got a feisty defense and do some stuff on offense. Nothing flashy, nothing crazy, just kind of play within themselves. They only won 16-13. I watched the end of that game, and it was pretty gross in terms of just how those teams were competing. It was very defensive. West Virginia had multiple opportunities to win this game. They dropped a wide open pass in the end zone. They were inside field goal range within 5 minutes of the end of the game, and the snap went over the quarterback's head, and he had to run back to the 50-yard line and sit on it, and so they had to punt. So they basically threw away 3 points there. So West Virginia had a lot of chances to really put this away, and Oklahoma just got lucky that they couldn't. You can't play defense against a wide open guy who just drops it in the end zone, and you just get lucky that the center for the other team snaps it over the quarterback's head. Oklahoma's just flying by the seat of its pants here. They go to Kansas State next week, who is a very plucky defensive team that makes you earn everything on the field. I wouldn't say their luck runs out, because who knows with this Oklahoma team, but if there's one game where if they keep playing with their food like they are and not trying to really aggressively put teams away, it's Kansas State that's going to bite them in the butt. So in conclusion, Big 12, kind of like the Pac-12, it's a bit of a mess in the middle and no team's really pushing its way to the top. You'll see that as a theme as we go forward. So we're going to keep coming east here. We're going to hit the Midwest. This is Big Ten country. Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, Minnesota, Purdue, Illinois, Nebraska, all of those great teams. Indiana and Rutgers, for anyone in the New Jersey and New York area. This conference has actually been, again, more wide open than I thought it would be. I thought Ohio State would come in pretty strong and just kind of run roughshod. They did have to replace a quarterback, Justin Fields, as we know. Any Bears fans out there, he's playing for the Bears now. Andy Dalton's down with an injury, so it's the Justin Fields show as we know what's going forward. But I expected them to be able to reload. They have I think 3 5-stars and 1 4-star prospect in their QB room. It is insane, the talent and quarterback that they have over there at Ohio State. So I thought they'd be able to plug and play fine. They've been okay on offense. Their defense actually has just been uninspired. They don't, in their loss to Oregon, kind of the talk was their defense didn't try to shift and match what Oregon was doing to beat it. It just played base defense. And if you don't know what that means, basically it means they just played their standard package. 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 people in the secondary, and just played man or zone coverage from there and didn't try to move anyone around, shift, maybe a blitz here and there, just stayed simple and thought, we have more talent than you on defense, we'll be able to make the tackles we need to win. And they didn't. Oregon completely out-schemed them and ended up running away with the win. So Ohio State's been dealing with that loss. This week, they were playing one of the worst teams in all of college football, Akron. Literally, they're probably bottom 10 of the league. There's 135 teams. They're between 125 and 135. They're terrible. They came back beautifully, 59-7 over Akron. They didn't start their quarterback, who they've been playing for the past couple weeks, C.J. Stroud. They decided to throw in some other quarterbacks to get them some play. Their quarterback, Kyle McCord, went in. He went 13 of 18, 319 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. As I said, they got so many quarterbacks they can plug in, and if you had to chart the 7 best wide receivers in college football this year, 4 of them are on Ohio State. So there you go. They're stacked. Around the rest of the league, you had Iowa, as represented right here. Go Hawkeyes. Handled business, as they always do. Iowa looking to be a really solid defensive team this year. Not allow a ton of points. They take care of the ball on offense, and they just kind of wear you down. They win against Colorado State 24-14. Big question mark of the week is Minnesota at home, homecoming for the Golden Gophers, just laying an egg against Bowling Green, who, if you don't know, is another one of the 10 worst teams in college football. This team has one good player on their team in terms of just stat production. Other than that, they're just really terrible. And they end up losing 14-10 to Bowling Green, which was just absolutely wild. I think in preseason, there's something you can bet on called the win totals for each team. So, for example...
What do you think about, after this,
Sure.
I don't know, what do you think about, you talk about betting totals, after this, let's talk about, how sports betting can become a culture within Decentraland.
Oh, yeah.
I would be curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, yeah.
Continue with what you're saying.
So preseason you have win totals that are put out on these different sports books for different teams. For example, Ohio State's, I think, was 11. So if you can then bet the over, the under on those wins. So you think either Ohio State is going to go 12-0, or you think they're going to go 10-2. For Bowling Green, it was 1.5. If you take the under, that means you think they're going to win 1 game, and they've already won 1. This is now 2. So if you took the under on Bowling Green win total, you already lost, because that's their second win. So just an example of how the community thought they were just so terrible. But yeah, similar thing to what's going on out west and in the Big 12 with the Big 10. There's just... Ohio State looks like the dominant force. Penn State was off this week. They played Villanova at home. Villanova's an FCS program. They win handily. Penn State's the other team in the Big 10 that is supposed to be probably pretty good. The last thing I'll take away from this week in the Big 10 is Wisconsin getting just manhandled by Notre Dame, scoring 13 points in the entirety of the game. Notre Dame gets 2 pick sixes from quarterback Graham Mertz of Wisconsin, and he After coming out in 2020 in his first game, Graham Mertz, quarterback for Wisconsin, looked absolutely amazing against Illinois. He threw for like 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh my gosh, like, Wisconsin's got a new quarterback. Absolutely amazing. I think this year he's thrown 3 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, something like that. Wow. Just not doing it. Struggling hard. And they've got a really good defense. Their defense at Wisconsin is really good. So maybe they make a quarterback change there because they're kind of wasting a really good defense with just poor quarterback play. But Kevin, yeah, to kind of piggyback on what you talked about, the sports betting.
Absolutely.
Within the Metaverse.
We got screens right here. People can be doing that live.
Oh, yeah, games. For sure. Yeah, and definitely if we do kind of a live watch event, it would be cool to have those, the over-unders and like, because a lot of what you can do now, especially with college football, is bet stuff live. Mm-hmm. So after the first quarter, you see that, oh wow, this team's starting offensive line isn't playing for whatever reason. Okay, well I'm gonna take the team total under, or I'm gonna bet the other team because they clearly aren't gonna be able to do it.
They're not gonna be prepared.
Yes. And that's something that books don't take into account when they set the original lines. So you can really make a lot of value there with just, even watching the beginning of the game and you're like, oh, this team just doesn't have it, or their quarterback gets hurt really quick in the game. That's a really, and if they don't have a lot of depth there, all of a sudden they might have to just be running a lot of wildcat, which is when they put the running back in the quarterback position and just try to run side to side and do a lot of tricky, funky stuff. So, especially with live betting, I haven't done it as much. I want to really get into that this season. Just kind of, you pick and choose your spots, obviously. And the best time, especially for college and even pro's a little harder because the teams are so similar in talent. The margins, winning in the margins for betting in the NFL is very tough. Like, being over 50% in your betting for NFL is amazing. It's somewhat like pro gamblers shoot for about 55, 57.
Success rate?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. In college, there's a little more variance. So if you kind of know what you're doing, there's a little bit more money to be made. But the best time to do it is actually like today when the lines come out on, and I guess we can do this as an episode in the future.
That would be really, I think that's a good idea, covering the lines. When
the Sunday lines come out, we can take a look at them. Sorry I mentioned that today and we're not going to touch it, but yeah, in the future, I'll definitely 100%. Like prepare and we can talk about the lines because they come out on Sunday. And that's when they're the most volatile because people will bet them up and down, or news will come out in the week that, hey, this quarterback, he had an ankle injury in the past game. Maybe he'll make it. Thursday hits. No, he's out.
Yeah.
And then the line will shift dramatically.
Yeah.
But if you took it back on Sunday and you knew he was already out, then you could be in a better spot.
They're going to be building very soon. They're going to be building entire like sports betting and also like right they already have casinos.
Oh yeah.
So like they're going to build these sports betting arenas. What if every Sunday Big Mike is giving those inside top line picks to let you know what to look out for the week ahead? This could be the place to go in the Metaverse for you to get your edge on the competition.
I'm here to help you guys with as much as I can for sure. I don't dip into the gambling space as much, but that doesn't mean I'm adverse to doing it. And if you guys are interested and there's a hole here we can fill, then I'm all in.
Yeah. I think it's like a matter of like saying, even if we are not into that, we can still give people insight on the shifting playing field.
Of course.
People need that regardless. And nobody who I know has better insights than Big Mike. Big Mike knows exactly what's happening across the playing field. Pun intended.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. No, for sure. And even I think a really funny thing with the books is that, especially with the ultra bad teams in college football, as I mentioned, like the bottom 10, bottom 15, the books don't understand maybe how bad they are. So sometimes, if you're a bit of a sicko, you can look at, they're only saying that this team will lose by 24, or the other team's favored by 24. Nah, they're going to be losing by like 50. Hammer the other team, or like hammer this team to cover this, hammer the bad team to cover the spread.
Let's see if I can get you to the television. I think I set up the television so you'll come up on the TV if I click it. So let's see. But I built an obstacle course, of course, just to get there.
Boop.
Ah, darn it. All right, I guess I gotta fix it.
Technical difficulties. All right, we'll take this time to do an NFL update. As you know, it's Sunday here in America, and the NFL is currently playing. So we'll take some time to look at that. A fun game going on right now. The Bills and the Washington football team. Bills are up 27-14. Very interesting there. Josh Allen, quarterback for the Bills, who had a really rough last week. I think he only had about 180 passing yards, a couple picks. Just looked gross, but it didn't matter because their defense was so good. I think they beat the Miami Dolphins 35-0. So
wow.
They could have put me and Kevin at quarterback. It wouldn't have mattered because their defense just stifled the Dolphins. He's having a great day at 22 of 28 for 263 and 3 touchdowns. So it's nice to see him get back on the horse there. And the football team's quarterback, who is very near and dear to my heart, Taylor Heineke. He's about 4 or 5 years coming out of school. He played at Old Dominion over in Virginia. His claim to fame in college was Virginia Tech. During the first or second year of their current head coach, Justin Fuentes, they transitioned out of longtime head coach Frank Beamer's era. Virginia Tech went to Old Dominion on like a Friday night or something to play a game. Didn't think much of it. Thought Virginia Tech would just roll them. Old Dominion had just started playing Division I football coming out of the FCS level. And it became a shootout. And Old Dominion put up 50-ish points on Virginia Tech with Taylor Heineke just throwing bombs. He had 500 yards of passing yards. It was wild. That quickly led to the retirement of the defensive coordinator of Virginia Tech, Bud Foster. He retired shortly after that game, or at the end of that season for sure, and kind of set Virginia Tech back a little bit in their recruiting. But anyway, he's now in the NFL. He was in and out of practice squads for about 4 years, and if you heard his name before, that's because he played a playoff game last season against Tom Brady and the Bucks, after Alex Smith, who was the quarterback for the football team, went down with, basically he had huge leg surgery and it failed him later in the season. So he had to go out. So they brought in this young kid, Taylor Heineke, and he almost won the game. He almost beat the Bucks. That was the closest game they played in the postseason. Everyone else they just blew out. So that was wild that this kid just came in and did it. So he's the kid. I mean, he's kind of my age, so I don't know why I call him the kid. That's but amazing. Anyway.
Oh my God, to beat the Bucks at that that age, though.
So yeah, he was on the practice squad most of the season, and then he gets called up, plays the playoff game, and then in this past offseason, he signed a 2-year, $9 million contract, which is the biggest contract he's ever had as a pro player. But it's all incentive laden. I think he gets $2.5 million guaranteed, $7 million in incentives, which is if he gets so many touchdowns. That's so much money. Bro. I know, but he can play for it, and now that he's starting, he can actually earn that money. Because if you're the backup and you have an incentive contract, okay, well,
then what do you get?
Yeah, I'm not going to see the field, but now he's playing, so he could go get that money. He can go get the money. So I'm all for Taylor Heineke getting his money. He's got 8 of 13, 134 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. It's at halftime. We'll see how it goes.
Remember you were talking about how college football, they're allowing the players to get sponsorships now? Mm-hmm. like that means we could see college football players doing all sorts of stuff with NFTs now. Like, like what was impossible before. Like, do you want to tell them like just your thoughts on how that opening up that opportunity for college football? What has that offered now? Like,
so for those that don't know the name, so what the NCAA had been fighting for a while and eventually came through this past summer was college football players and college athletes in general being able to get sponsored for their name, image, and likeness, which basically everyone else can already do. Anyone who is not on an NCAA scholarship does this all the time. Girls on Instagram do ads for different gyms or like different fitness regimens. We essentially did one earlier where we did the MetaKey ad. Like, everyone else does this in the world. It's not something that's far-fetched or outlandish. It was just the NCAA didn't allow you to do it as you were a scholarship athlete under their umbrella system of work for free for us, essentially. So that has now been upended, and college athletes are now allowed to sponsor and do deals with major or just any business. And most of it is actually going to local businesses, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of local restaurants that will sponsor the kids as well. But some, I think I saw an article that some, it was a quarterback out west somewhere, I think in California, he was doing some type of work with a cryptocurrency or a more internet-based cryptocurrency company. So there's definitely an angle for that. I'm not sure if I've heard...
Which college athlete would you want to... If you could see any college athlete do something in Decentraland or with NFTs, who would it be? And then somebody in chat, make sure we clip this and we tag them on Twitter.
Let's go with... probably... You know what? No. Let's go Sam Hartman, quarterback for Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Woo! You want to do something with the Decentraland, hit us up. We'll get you sponsored. We'll get you doing something. Anyone knows I'm wearing the Iowa, but I'm a big Wake Forest fan. If Sam Hartman, he's gonna be there a long time. He's a fourth-year redshirt sophomore, so he's got at least 2 more years on the field. So we've got time. That's the biggest thing is these guys, like, if they're a good quarterback in college, they're normally gone in 3 years. Wow. So, because they go to the league.
Wow.
So,
is he gonna? Do you think he's gonna go to the league? He could get drafted.
He's not big enough. He doesn't have the arm talent.
So he needs this NFT.
Yes,
money.
yeah.
He needs this NFT money.
Like what the market share for this is finding the college athletes that are going pro in something other than sports.
Interesting.
You know, like which is most of college quarterbacks.
That's
like
true.
Not every college quarterback goes to the league and gets drafted. Most of them end up like getting a degree and going into business or going into broadcasting or maybe working for the university as a booster and as a publicist essentially. So yeah, that's where we could target. Sam Hartman, get at us. But yeah, no, there's definitely, and also you got to be thinking. So now these young college quarterbacks, players. It doesn't have to just be a quarterback, but any player, they're now able to sign agents to help them work through these deals. So,
nice.
You know, obviously, the more the low-hanging fruit is what was grabbed earlier. Restaurants. You know, the Auburn quarterback signed with Milo's Sweet Tea, which is an Alabama sweet tea company.
Yeah.
So maybe as the years go and these young players, as every year you get another batch of 18-year-olds coming into college sports.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have money and opportunity to do things other than maybe, like you said, other than go into the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So it is a huge market. The thing is, it's just so young. It literally just started. And also a little bit of it is like... convincing 17, 18-year-old college player, hey, sign up with this, and they're like, I don't know what that is.
Absolutely.
Like their whole life in high school has been football and school and getting recruited and their huddle site, and now like the world is speaking back to them, and it's like who are they gonna listen to?
Dude, we should do could we do like a college football NFT trading card game that like links in with fantasy football?
There is college football fantasy sports.
Link that in with NFT tech though.
Yes, yeah. They could,
dude.
It could cross over.
Like, you know how right now if you're on, like when you pick your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
You only have a fixed amount of like imagine if those things that you picked were like the collectible cards or like the collectible NFTs. I think that would be. I mean, it's gonna happen. Whether somebody's gonna do it out there.
Yeah.
We need to keep an eye out for that.
No, because what's so interesting? What's special about that is they're only in college for like so long. Yeah. So that NFT, that highlight card or whatever, it's gonna be more important because after 4 years, 5 years, they're not on that team anymore. So it's kind of a moment in history that you say.
That's so true.
It's not like they sign another contract and stay with the team again.
That's so true. It's like there's no way. Exactly. There's no way to change that. They're gonna be on that. It's gonna be like there's like a longevity to it. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
I'll show. Actually, you know what? I'll show you a good. Can I go to a tab here? We'll go to YouTube real fast. I'll show you a great example of. We'll go to Jake Hayner versus UCLA. Yes. No, I want to go to this one. Okay, can they all see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, before we get so this is in terms of we're talking about great moment of college player. This is the Fresno State game I talked about earlier. Quarterback here is Jake Hayner. He is a fourth-year junior. I think he transferred from somewhere else. Fresno State runs a very spread, wide-open offense. They are obviously down 4 to UCLA here in the last 3 minutes of the quarter. And he is going to put together two scoring drives that pretty much cement him as one of the greater quarterbacks in Fresno State lore, as well as knock off a top 15 team in UCLA. And you're also going to see him fight through a lot of adversity here. So he's dropping back. He's going to throw to the end zone, and nice back shoulder throw for a touchdown here late. And we're going to see on the replay here, he gets absolutely demolished by the linebacker. Great throw to the front corner of the end zone, but he is going to get his hip blown apart here. He's going to step forward. Oh, wow, no. Where did that hit happen? I think it happened earlier.
Oh, wow. Dude.
But yeah, so he is clearly being affected by a hip injury, so he can't really rotate through the ball. Here's the hit. So this was earlier in the drive. He takes a helmet right to the hip and goes down.
Dude.
So now UCLA has scored again. So now we've got 47 seconds left. They're at their own 25-yard line. And basically, Jake Hayner has to do it all over again. But he doesn't have a left hip. So he can't really rotate through the football here. You're going to watch him use a lot of arm and not really twist his body. Arm. You see him barely be able to get through that ball, but gets it enough to where his receiver can get out of bounds. Awesome. Look, dude, this guts right here. Steps back, offensive line protects, all arm. No body on that throw. Gets it downfield. They get out of bounds. 30 seconds left. We're down 4.
Oh my god.
It's all arm here. He's really not being able to put his body. I know he's very accurate by not putting his body into it. Again, drops back, and he's gonna just dart it again near the sideline. his hip has got to be on fire right now. He's clutching as he's running up the field, clutching his hip. It's just, you don't see this a lot.
Dude.
In this is just a gutsy performance from a young quarterback in a big time moment against a big time team. He's out here just throwing his heart out.
Dude, let's get this guy on an NFT. Bro.
Yes, and he's out west too. Fresno State's in California, so they're a little probably more up on all that stuff. So now we've got 17 seconds left. I'll bring it back here. 17 seconds left. It's 2nd and 11. They've got one timeout, so if he takes a sack, it's okay. Looks like UCLA is going to be bringing a bit of a blitz here. This is also something I could do is break down scheme. If anyone out there is like scheme content, I am all in. Let me know. Hit me up. I love talking football scheme. But yeah, basically UCLA looks like they're blitzing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people they're going to blitz, and then they're going to drop 6. They've got 3 safeties playing at the goal line. Really, you think this is kind of more of a prevent setup. They really shouldn't be allowing a touchdown here. And we've got basically a normal spread set. One running back in the backfield, and then 2 wide receivers. They're going to rip it. They're going to run some sort of crossing concept. The inside guy goes out. The outside guy here goes in. I don't know what number 1 here is doing, but it's not going to be good because he just doesn't get there for whatever reason. They throw a perfect... Hainer again throws a perfect back shoulder ball on this play, and you see he's just absolutely a gamer. Nice, accurate back shoulder throw, goes right into the end zone, and he's on the ground.
Oh yeah, you can't take it anymore.
They did it. Absolutely, two drives where he goes down, scores, and so that's kind of an immediate example of what I thought is an NFT type performance where you really just see just a gutsy college football play.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen as much anymore. It used to, because a lot of people just, get subbed out.
We don't have anything for we have the NBA Top Shot, but I mean, imagine something like this for just college football.
Exactly.
I think that I know just recently they just released some new packs or something like that. Like, I haven't dug into this enough to know what the utility element is. I know there's a collector's set element, but you can search by players as well.
Mm-hmm. But
Look at this right here. Lowest ask right here for this one.
$756.
Oh yeah, dude. Here we go. $400
LeBron dunk
right here. 400.
Bang. That was during COVID too. There's no people in the stands.
That's funny. Mark that.
Yeah, this is during the NBA bubble because there's no fans in the stands.
Dude, the pictures on the side though to have that's kind of weird.
That was fun that they did that. That was
those are zooms.
Those are zooms. Yeah.
That is cool.
Sometimes they had celebrities in there. It was fun. Like, dude. Snoop Dogg was in there one time and he was just smoking a J.
What? What?
They had to cut him out. Dude, the NBA was like, whoa.
Classic.
Yeah.
What do you expect? You bring Snoop Dogg on your...
I know. You seal your own fate on that one.
Snoop, come on over. I know Snoop Dogg is doing something with the Sandbox right now.
Oh, word?
He's doing a live performance in Sandbox. I'm not sure exactly what day. I know it's one of these days. Snoop Dogg. They're building him a mansion and Sandbox and stuff or I guess a performance. Snoop, man, come over to Decentraland. What are you doing, bro? You're taking, no offense, Sandbox, but Snoop, you're taking the L, bro. I get you're securing the bag, but come on, man.
Decentraland's better for sure.
Yeah. But oh my gosh, you know what? It's gonna be so sick though. I'm gonna eat my words, but literally Sandbox is really dope. I just love Decentraland. Let's see.
Snoop
Should we? Should we take a look at it over here so people can see?
Yeah.
Let's,
What's it
go
on
to
YouTube?
Yeah, just go on YouTube. Snoop Dogg enters the Sandbox Metaverse. We have to research our competition, you know, like, if we're... Let's see. Right. Snoop Dogg enters the Sandbox. Alright. Let's see. This is competitive research. We're researching our competitors.
3 days ago.
Snoop Dogg.
It's kind of lowrider. Also, he totally built all of this himself.
Oh yeah, totally. Took him a couple of blunts, but he got through it.
He's completely... Oh, that's a statue. I was like, no color on his character. Hang out with him.
It's actually kind of cool looking. Dude, I really like the vibe. Yo, we got...
He's there?
Yeah, he's apparently gonna be there as a person, but I'll tell you, if you think this is cool, people, if you think this is cool, then you have no clue what we're about to see. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have a Metaverse festival. It's gonna be a 4-day festival, like Lollapalooza. It's gonna be like this on another level. So much respect, Sandbox. We see what you're doing out there, but you know, make sure y'all come out to Metaverse Festival. It's gonna be if you think that's dope, you just wait.
Yes. No. Yeah. Of course.
Dude.
Also, yeah. Why do they intentionally make them more look like Roblox than?
I think so.
Like they want to go with
sure,
that vibe of Roblox.
Yeah.
So I like the not blocky
exactly
avatars.
Me too. And I think honestly, when you do that Roblox vibe, it prevents artists from doing what they want. They kind of are beholden to that blocky feel.
Yeah, if you like triangles, you're kind of screwed.
Exactly. Literally, like, if you want, there's a lot of different metaverses, but, I mean, we are the Decentraland Report for a reason, because Decentraland was actually the first of these kind... Open world metaverse, like, for creatives, and kind of has been showing the way, you know, like, and it's not about necessarily being one better than the other, but like we're better, you know.
It seems a lot more free.
It's competitive, you know, like let's go. This is Sports Sunday. I'm feeling competitive right now.
For sure. All right, you want me to keep going, or?
I think we got 7 more minutes here.
Awesome. All right, well, I'll quickly try to wrap up the rest of our college football world. So we've got 2 conferences left to really chat about. We've got the SEC and the ACC. I'll quickly burn through the ACC really fast. The last 5 years have seen Clemson football pretty much dominate the ACC landscape. ACC meaning the Atlantic Coast Conference. That includes Duke, UNC, NC State, Wake Forest, UVA, Virginia Tech, Boston College, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and others along the Atlantic Coast, Miami. And this year, Clemson obviously lost Trevor Lawrence, who, if you don't know, is now the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they lost a couple great wide receivers, as well as some offensive linemen to the NFL. And they've had to replace all of that this year. They also lost Travis Etienne, who is a great pass-catching and great running back, who is also on the Jaguars. So replacing all that has been a bit of a struggle for the Clemson this year, and it really culminated in last week. They had a really gross game against Georgia Tech. They won 14-8, and it had 2 different lightning delays, so it was a bit of a game that, you know, took 6 hours, but only had 3 hours of play, you know, because of the lightning delays. So, like, you want to give them a pass on that. It's a weird game, whatever. Get out with a win. This week, they went to Raleigh to play NC State, and it was another gross game. It was 7-7 in the fourth quarter. Both teams score a touchdown. NC State goes down the field in the last minute, gets within a 39-yard field goal attempt. Their kicker on the day had missed 2 field goals, but both were from 50-plus yards. So, hey, maybe it's just not his day from deep. We'll give him a shot from 39, and he misses that one.
I was a kicker in high school.
Yeah, I thought you played cornerback. You did both.
I played on practice.
Okay.
But they would never put me in a game because
unless the other guy got hurt.
Yeah, of course. Which thankfully he didn't.
But yeah, so I
know that pain.
You know the pain. Like you had a bad day. He went 0 of 3 from kicking.
I never had
that kick was for the win. It was 14-14. That was for the win. So now we go to overtime. Clemson goes first. They score. NC State follows. They score as well. Now we're in second overtime. It's looking pretty much like, oh boy, NC State really had a chance here, and they're probably just going to let it go. NC State gets the ball first in second overtime. They throw, they get really behind the chains. It's 3rd and 20 or something like that, or it's third and they got to score, and they throw an absolute laser to the front of the end zone. Catch. Maybe we can actually catch that. Boop. Yeah. NC State versus Clemson 2021. That's what I want. And yeah, but I will go ads. Hey, if you're not on LinkedIn, you should be on LinkedIn because LinkedIn's useful. Yeah, right here. So
full screen, yeah.
So this is okay. Yes. So this is now our second overtime period. Or no, this is our first overtime period. So Clemson now has it. It's 4th and 5. This is their new quarterback right here, DJ Uiagalelei, who is taking over for Trevor Lawrence. He has looked suspect these past few games, not really confident. And this is their new offensive line that they're trying to run with. And as you see, it's holding up decently. But here we go, 4th and 5. They have to convert in beating Clemson, which is a huge win.
I feel like the pass was good.
Could
have been better, but the pass was there. The guy could have caught it.
Yeah, I think maybe he just didn't see it.
Dude, he definitely didn't see it.
I think he just didn't see it.
No, he didn't.
So you've got Clemson, who was the top of the ACC, now losing to NC State, which means the ACC just wide open at this point. Big Wake Forest fan, they're off to a 4-0 start. They have 2 conference wins. It's looking like anybody's year in the ACC, to be honest. There's no clear-cut winner. There's no clear-cut top team, as there kind of is in the other conferences. So if you're at all fan of college football, dial into the ACC because it's going to be a madhouse the rest of the way. I don't know who's coming out of the ACC with the victory here, but tune in. It's going to be wild. We'll touch the ACC at the end. It's probably just going to be Alabama versus Georgia in Atlanta in December. Thank you very much. This has been Big Mike with the Decentraland Sports Sunday Report. Woo! If you want to catch more of me, you can get me at Mike Collins, at mcollins212 on Twitter.
Can we go? Let's go there so people can.
Yeah. Visual, yes. Streaming is a visual medium. Podcasting is not. Collins212. Yeah. There it is. Big Mike, mcollins212 on Twitter. You can hit me up there. I will be dropping a podcast episode, my quarterly reviews, which I did a little bit here on. That's going to be on Monday for the Triple Option podcast. Link is on the Twitter bio. It is on SoundCloud. And you can also catch some of my stuff on YouTube that I've done for work at my community college where I go to school. Thank you guys so much for having me here. I look forward to tuning in for the rest of the week to all the Decentraland reporting that is happening. Thank you, Kevin, for having me on. I hope you guys have enjoyed everything that I'm talking about. And if you want more sports content, hit me up on Twitter, get to the SoundCloud link, and we'll talk more over there. Decentraland, we'll see you next week.
Woo! See y'all. Have a good one. Peace out.